Hey guys, how's it going? Srey here. So today I just wanted to cover here's the storm balance changes that are coming on December 6th, and they're pretty light, but I just want to give you guys a bit more insight. So first up we have Falstad, and they've increased the cooldown on his flight by 10 seconds, and the cooldown has been increased on Epic Mount. So I don't know why they don't, here they say 45 to 55, this should say from 25 to 30 because right now it's 25. So this is just going to make it a little bit nerfed to Falstad's global, which is pretty much the reason you'd pick him in the first place. Right now, it's not uncommon to see a really early Falstad pick on kind of bigger maps, so this just tones that down a bit. He's still perfectly fine. It's not that big of a change. A lot of times you're not flying on cooldown anyway, so this doesn't really change much, but sometimes you are, so this will have a bit of an effect. On Gul'dan, we have the cast range increased for range destruction by 10%, and this just makes it so that Gul'dan can cast range destruction from a little bit safer distance. But as right now, range destruction sees zero play. It's always the fear ult. So I don't think this will have any change because the problem isn't the safety from where he casts his ability. It's the fact that it does very little damage. It's very hit or miss. It's not a reliable damage overall. The Li-Ming actually got a very substantial change here. Calamity now only deals damage to heroic targets. So what this means is it doesn't damage minions. So Li-Ming previously, Calamity is pretty much her only wave clear for the most part, and this makes it so that she has effectively zero wave clear. Now, of course, you don't always go Calamity. You could go Seeker at 7, uh, but if you do go Calamity now, you're basically only taking it for kind of resets and fights and maybe damage versus a Zeratul or a Tracer or some kind of hero that might be hard to hit otherwise. This is a pretty big nerf. I wouldn't be surprised if we rarely see Calamity now because of this change, because this was a very significant reason for taking Calamity in the first place. And this also means that I think that Li-Ming will see a moderately less amount of play in Hero League because heroes without wave clear aren't that strong in Hero League or Quick Match, in my opinion. So Samuro has more nerfs, and these don't affect competitive because Samuro sees zero playing competitive right now. So these changes just affect Quick Match and Hero League, and there's just more nerfs. He's just going to keep getting nerfed, I guess. I don't think he's particularly effective, but he is annoying to deal with if your team doesn't know how to deal with it. So I don't mind these changes because he already sees zero play. So Samuro just doesn't exist for me in competitive. Zeratul gets some changes. They're kind of they're kind of buffs. So this one's obviously a buff. This one's a buff, and healing strikes was reduced from 40 to 35. And Void Slash was increased. So these are buffs overall for Zeratul, but these are talents that weren't really taken anyway. Mending Strikes was standard at 13 for the most part. This is the only nerf he has, but it's only a 40 to 35%. So basically, Zeratul's exactly the same. I still don't recommend any of these buff talents though. Void Slash could see some play if you're against some good AoE comps. Varian, multi-class hero. Okay, Blizzard. So he has some buffs. We have reduced mana cost, not really important. Slow, which is nice. It's only 5% though. The parry cooldown is significant. 10 to 8 is pretty good. Heroic Strike, this is just a change. It's not really good or bad. It's probably just worse, I guess, because it doesn't work off second win anymore. So what this means is that when you're below 50% health, you no longer benefit from the damage that Heroic Strike deals, and you won't heal from it. That's not very significant though. That's pretty small. Taunt got a pretty good buff. Health bonus increase from 50 to 60. That's pretty substantial. And mana cost is reduced by half. So that's pretty good. So so far he has a bit more slow. His mana is better, but he didn't have mana problems anyway. He has more parry and he has more health. Level 1 talent got buffed a little bit. So Warbringer got nerfed by 2 seconds. That's bad because this is a must-take talent, and it basically increases the cooldown of his dash or his charge from 6 seconds to 8 seconds when you get this cooldown. So this is a nerf, and I understand that all Varian's kit is tied into charge, and that's what makes him good. But I don't think these buffs offset that. Maybe they do, but I still don't think he's that strong. Okay, so Live by the Sword they increase the duration from 20 to 40, and so this would normally just increase the duration of parry from 20 seconds or 20% to now it's 40%, but they reduce the cooldown reduction from 3 to 2. So what this change does is it makes Live by the Sword more reliable. So you don't even if you don't get both or the auto attacks to reset it, you won't see as much impact on your play. I think this is a slight buff. And then they buff vigilance, so that you have more CDR and taunt. But I don't think this is very important because you don't go this. You go the banner at level 10 or level 20 anyway, or you go the damage reduction. I think those are too good to be able to give up here. So we think that one of the most important things about our first multi-class hero is that all 6 builds are close to power level. Really, Blizzard? Really? 6 builds? You have 6 builds on Varian. I'm sorry, but this that actually tilts me that they're still trying to push this 6 build thing. He has He has maybe 2 builds, okay? He has damage and he has tank. And that's it. And it's not a different build. You get the exact same talents no matter what you take. The only difference is you take a different level 10. You're never not taking the charge at 4. So I don't know I don't know how they're getting 6. I think they're multiplying the 2 times the 3 at 10. And to get, 6, but I don't see how it's 6 builds. There's no change in playstyle whatsoever at all. Like his level 4 talents are just strong level 4 talents. They're not any different than any other kind of 4 talents. Like you wouldn't say that um, other heroes, if they get like, if Illidan gets a block talent instead of a lifesteal talent, that he's a different build. It's the same hero. Um, the only difference is that if you get the level 10 auto attack versus the level 10 burst, you need a bit more burst versus auto attack or sustained damage. Regardless, I still don't think that Varian is good and competitive whatsoever. Maybe he might see a little bit of play in tank, but I don't think so. Um, we'll see. We'll see. Need to play him more. Zeebo has some pretty much straight buffs here. Missile speed is increased, so this makes hitting corpse spiders a little bit easier. Toads of Hugeness got buffed, but you're usually taking the W talent at level 7 anyway because it's just too good. But this is a nice buff, I guess. It's not too impactful. It's only 5% per hop, which isn't that good. Soul Harvest is a pretty crap talent, but now they've increased it from 20% max to 25% max. I still don't think this will see any play because you need the level 16 talent. I think it's actually I'm not sure what it's called. It's the one where they stand in it and they take more damage, poison damage, and I think that's way better than what Soul Harvest can give. But it's nice changes. Maybe he'll see a bit more play, but I still don't think so. Again, we have more global changes. So it wasn't uncommon to see Brightwing Falstad first 2-3 picks in competitive, or even just in general. Brightwing was like one of the best supports in the game, even on small maps, because of phase shift for the most part, and just very, very strong support overall. So this is an expected change, but they're just trying to tone down the globals. Kerosene, we have a 5% buff. 10 to 15 is a pretty sizable movement speed buff. But they did reduce the damage from Iron Fists by quite a little bit there, 15%. And they increased this cooldown by 15 seconds, which is significant because Earth Ally was super, super good. So this is a significant nerf. And then they increased the movement speed buff at level 7. But so this is overall, I'd say this is a nerf. Um, at least if you're going DPS build. Well, you're still going Earth Ally even in sustain. So I still think this is definitely a nerf overall. I don't think these movement speed bonuses override the nerfs to the talents. Anumbrak got a nice little change. Gets a quite a bit, quite it's a nice amount of health, 5% plus at least more max health, which is pretty good, and a little bit more health regen. This is such a small regen though change. It's not even important, this health regen change. The base health is nice, so it's a little bit harder to burst into Barak. They nerfed his base health a while ago, so this is basically just resetting it to what it was before. He's still weaker than when he was at his strongest though. Diablo, they just changed his auto attack responsiveness, so might see a little bit ease there. Fleabag, they made this talent maybe viable now. So Fleabag is the talent where if you get stunned, I believe it's just stunned, maybe rooted as well. It reduces the cooldown of your ability by 3 seconds, and now it's 6 seconds. So this might actually be a good talent because previously, such as level 13 talents are so awful. There's like you have bigger slam radius basically. And if you're going tank build, that doesn't help you. This is a nice change. This is moderately good, at least for CC teams. And Tyrael, the last change here is we have Sanctification cooldown increase from 80 to 100. Sank is obviously really good. Um, and he hasn't really seen that much play recently. I think this is more targeted, at least in North America. I think this is more targeted to other regions. And honestly, I just hate dealing with teams that go uh, Tyrael kind of wombo combo build where they just have a gray main or hyper carry and they just dive really hard and sink. So that was always really annoying to deal with. So this just tones that down a little bit. He's still good, but he's more situational now than just like always being a good pick. And that's all the changes. Overall, it's not really impactful. I mean, the most noticeable changes, the biggest change by far is the Li-Ming change, I think. The Samuro changes are, even though it's a nerf, it's pretty small, but like it's still a sizable nerf, I guess, overall. You got several abilities nerfed, and then the global changes are the most impactful. The rest of these aren't really important. You might see a little bit better, tank variant, but that's pretty much it. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.